What's up, Acolyte Squad? My name is Prince and I'm an urban acolyte. This video is going to be a follow-up to the video I posted yesterday about John Boyega and his conversation with Kathleen Kennedy. There were a couple of comments that I wanted to respond to, so that's really what we're going to be talking about. And this is straight up off the dome. So I'm pulling it up in my YouTube creator app where I can quickly get to the two comments. One of them's really, really long. I didn't read all of it, so because it was really long. One of them's short. Let me see if I can find it because I'm not seeing it quite yet. All right, here's the comment. All right, so I don't know how to. It looks like Ederico 17 or something. I don't know how to read these names that have numbers and stuff in the place of vowels or something. I don't know, but I'm just gonna call you Ed RKO, right? So Ed RKO says, I still have no idea what John Boyega's point is. Him being dissatisfied with where his character went has literally nothing to do with him being black. Harrison Ford hated his role and the treatment of his character in Return of the Jedi. Is that because he was white? Like, what the hell is he talking about? Seems like people just like the idea of standing up for black actors being oppressed without actually thinking critically about what he is saying, because what he is saying is absolute nonsense. It's also a dirty move. He's using his power over the company because he knows that replacing him would be extremely bad for business. When on any other project, if you don't like what's being done with your character, the director would say, fine, I've got a million other actors who would love this role. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. But they can't do that because of continuity's sake, and he's using that against him. It's really a dirty move. So straight up, bro, I'm gonna disagree with you. I think actually I'm gonna turn your comment against you. You said that it seems like people just like the idea of standing up for black actors being oppressed without actually thinking critically about what he's saying, because what he's saying is absolute nonsense. Why don't you think critically about what he said? Like, did you even read the Esquire magazine article, or are you basing everything on what I said and off the dome video where I didn't even say everything that he said? I've never addressed all of that. I think you need to go and look at the Esquire article and look at what he actually said and think critically about it, right? One of the things that he pointed out, and when I went back and I was editing the video, I started to say it and I completely got sidetracked and never came back to the point. But he said, look, they started out, Finn had this arc, right, that we thought he was going to become a Jedi. He was going to do these great things. Poe Dameron as well. You go back, I don't know if you're brand new to me or my channel, but people were laughing and criticizing me because they were like, oh, you want everybody to be force sensitive. Like I said, why don't they, a long time ago, I said, why don't they take the idea, the story that Knights of the Old Republic, or the Sith Lords, the Knights of the Old Republic game, part 2 game, where, you had the Jedi exile because, I don't know, some dude, I don't even think he makes Star Wars videos anymore, but everybody was, sucking him off because he had this theory, Rey is a wound in the Force. Y'all remember that wound in the Force theory? And I was like, this is garbage. Darth Nihilus was the wound in the Force, right? If we're talking about Rey, and he was talking about, the Jedi exile, I can't even remember her canon name, that's Rey, and he's like, oh, and look, in the game, when the Jedi exile kills people, it's the dark side and she becomes more powerful, just like Rey. When she's killing people in The Force Awakens, she becomes, and I'm like, bro, that's how a role-playing game works. You beat the bad guys, you get XP, you level up. Right. I'm like, you're using video game mechanics to explain how, when it's actually the journey that she was going on and making friends, right, reestablishing herself as a leader, like she had been under Revan, right, was helping her reestablish her connection to the Force. And then by the end of the game, she's not a wound in the Force, like Kreia said. She was like a healing balm for the Force, right? She had this ability where where like she made the Force stronger for everyone else, which actually is kind of how Rey was, right? If you read the novelization for The Last Jedi, right, when Luke comes back, there's one of the things where they drop the ball in the movie. Sorry, Rian Johnson. But when Luke, reaches into the little pool and he communes with Leia he reconnects with the Force, and Leia comes out of her coma, right? He comes back and he's looking at Rey through the Force, and it's like her aura through the Force. She's a bright light, and everything she touches, right? She illuminates everything around her, everything that comes into contact with her, just like Mitra Surik, the Jedi exile in the game, right? And then I said, and if you played the game, you're familiar with it, everybody in the party ends up, if you do all the conversations and everything, your charisma causes them to there's an awakening, right? They all realize that they are all also Force sensitive, and then they all can go on to be Jedi. And the canon ending is that they reform Mitra Surik and her party. They like reform the Jedi Council, rebuild the Jedi Council that had been destroyed by these Sith Lords that you have to take down in the game, right? So with Poe Dameron, with Finn, there were hints that they would all be Force sensitive too, that they would all by the end be Jedi too, because in one of the original one of the earlier versions of The Force Awakens, Poe Dameron was supposed to have been one of Luke's Jedi who survives, when he's off, trying to find where Luke is gone missing, and he dies, right? And one of those things was, Oscar Isaac was like, please, I don't want my character to die. So, JJ was like, all right, well, we'll let you live. And that's why in The Force Awakens, like the movie, you don't really see how Poe survives and makes it back to is it Takodana or Dakar? Dakar base is where they start out. I don't remember. Takodana is where Maz Kanata's castle is, and Dakar is the base in The Force Awakens, right? I don't remember. It's been a hot minute since I went over that. So what John Boyega's he's not saying, oh, this is bad because my character got sidelined. He said all of the characters, all of the people of color, their stories got sidelined in favor of Kylo Ren and Rey, right? Like only the white people use the Force. Maz Kanata was a Force user, but you don't actually see her use the Force, right? Snoke is an alien. Well, then we find out that Snoke was a genetic strand cast. He was a cum shot from Palpatine. Basically, Snoke was made from a Palpatine's jizz stain. So he's a white dude too that got, they did some Force lightning, some Sith alchemy, and they create, and so it's like, you're talking about think critically about what he's saying. If you need to think critically about what he's saying, because what he's saying is true. What about Jannah? Jannah, at one point, I think, according to Jason Ward and some of these other people, was going to be Lando's daughter that had gone missing, because Lando said, he had a kid who was abducted by the First Order. I can't remember if he said it or if it was in the book or something, but he had a kid who had gone missing, and Jannah was supposed to have been that daughter. And then the fact that, she and those other stormtroopers that were on that, the moon, where the Death Star remains were on the water, grass planet, whatever it was, they're all supposed to have been Force sensitive. That's a storyline, a plot line that went nowhere. Finn, all along from day one, I was like, yo, man, he's got the Force. He's got the Force. Finn has got the Force. There's been an awakening. Some people were like, oh yeah, there was awakening, and Finn had his awakening before Rey did. And, I thought going into the movie from the beginning that, I thought it would have been obvious that Rey and Kylo Ren would have been like the Solo twins, Jason and Jaina. And I thought that Finn would be like the outlier, right? Not the outlier, but kind of the difference maker that would, keep that story from turning out the same way Jason and Jaina did, where, maybe at some point Kylo Ren would be the Darth Caedus character who would, I kept saying Kylo Ren is going to kill Snoke. If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. Snoke is the man. Kylo Ren wants to be the man. He's going to beat the man. And I said my prediction, and from The Force Awakens, I said he's going to have to turn to the Sith, and maybe somehow he communes with Palpatine from the Netherworld, something like that. Finds a Palpatine Sith holocron, something, but he turns to the Sith, he becomes more powerful, and it takes Finn and Rey to take him down. That's how I thought episode 9 would have turned out if you had asked me back in 2016, 2017, before seeing The Last Jedi. Now I kind of changed once I started to hear, Finn is not going to be doing any Jedi stuff in The Last Jedi. I kept saying he's supposed to be the super soldier, whatever that he was presented as in The Force Awakens novelization and the prequel, the background book before The Awakening, where they talked about Finn being the standout stormtrooper and he was sure to be an officer, and there were actually hints of that in deleted scenes from The Last Jedi, where Finn is walking through, undercover with DJ and Rose, and one of the stormtroopers recognizes him. He's like, yo, man, I always knew you were officer material, because Captain Phasma said, FN 2187 is officer material, except for that whole Force thing and him having a conscience and the whole stormtrooper reprogramming that they did. It never took for him because he had too much compassion and all this other stuff, and they started putting that into his backstory. It's in a comic book that came out as part of the Road to the Rise of Skywalker. I don't think I talked about it in a video, but I don't talk about everything. Maybe if I do straight up, more of this type off the dome, where I just take a topic and just go until I'm tired of talking about it, then maybe I'll, talk about that stuff in the future if I keep going. Sorry, I got a message from my bro Geekdom. He's telling me to keep going with this off the dome type stuff. So I don't know. Geekdom is the GOAT, the Dragon Ball GOAT. What do y'all agree with Geekdom 101 that I should just keep doing this, turn on the camera and just go and say what I got to say and go on to the next one? Leave all the fancy editing and everything to some of these other people. I don't know. Let me know. But anyway, my whole point was I'm not saying you're wrong. You can feel the way you feel. I feel the way I feel. But at the end of the day, it's my name on the channel. So people gonna watch what I say. If you want people to watch what you say, you need to start a channel, Ed, RKO. But I'm just saying, dog, you're talking about people need to think critically about what's being said, and it's like you're just looking at John Boyega's playing the black card, and that's not the way I saw it at all. And that's not he's talking about, yo, this is what happened. People came into this with an expectation. I came in with an expectation. J.J. Abrams said, congratulations, you're about to be the new face of Star Wars. Now, if somebody says that to me, and then the word on the street is, yo, man, this dude is about to be the new Luke Skywalker. He's about to be that next dude. And you film, right? Did you catch this part? You filmed the movie the first time through, and you're just running through with Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber. You're chopping people down right and left. And there's no, oh, you got sliced up the back and you're in a coma going into, episode 8, The Last Jedi. One of the ways that I heard it ended was Kylo Ren fights Finn and Rey to a draw. And then, one version I heard was Luke Skywalker shows up to save them and they get away. Another version was, they fight to a draw. The planet, Starkiller base, I guess they've confirmed that that's Ilum now, splits, erupts, starts to fall apart, come apart at the seams. and they both jump on the Falcon, but the point was they fight to a draw. And I guess, like I said this in the video 3 years ago, why were Finn's lightsaber scenes cut, was I said, look, it looks to me like they're obviously trying to put Rey on, as Rey is the one, right? This is about Rey, at least for now. Maybe throughout, and it turned out throughout the movies, it was about her, right? And if we have Finn running through, he's going to overshadow her character. He's running through with the lightsaber, and he's, the super warrior who hasn't had any Force training yet. And it's like, oh man, well, what's he going to do when he actually learns how to be a Jedi, right? And people are going to forget all about Rey, right? And that's not a J.J. Abrams thing. That's a George Lucas thing. George Lucas, we're finding out George Lucas was going to have Leia be the chosen one if he had done that Darth Maul as the big bad guy for the sequel saga, right? And it still would have been Kira, who would have gone on this journey to find Luke or whatever else, or there was going to be well, even before then, back in the 80s, right, before Lucas had decided that Leia was the other Skywalker, but even then it was, oh yeah, Luke and his twin sister were separated at birth, and his twin sister has been training on the other side of the galaxy with an actual Jedi, not like Luke being watched over by old Ben Kenobi until the day and the time comes that Ben can train Luke. It was whoever she's with, they've been training her since birth. So, when episode 7 picks up and it's the Imperial Remnant or whatever else the story picks up after Return of the Jedi, Luke meets his twin sister and she's more powerful than him. She's been a Jedi her whole life, where he's just been, playing at this Jedi game, during the Galactic Rebellion, since he was 19, and now he's 22, 23. She's been at it all 23 years instead of, his 3-4 years. Right. So you were always that's the story as it was always going to be. And, since I said that leads directly into, the comment from One Force, One Balance, where he said, Prince, can you do another video expounding on Finn's story? What would be a good arc to see for him after the rise of Skywalker? And I actually said this a long time ago. I don't know if you were around back then, but I kept saying I feel like Finn is the canon Kyle Katarn, right? Kyle Katarn started out as a stormtrooper. He defected from the Empire. In Legends, he's the one, along with what's her name, Jan Ors or something like that. They were the ones who stole the plans for the Death Star and gave them to the Rebellion, and then, A New Hope. Of course, Rogue One, I can't say retcon that, but gave us the canon story of that, and there's no Kyle Katarn in canon. And if there was, then, then Kylo Ren probably killed him, right? But Finn has that same story, and if you take out, Kyle Katarn stole the plans to the Death Star, gave them to the Rebellion. Well, what did Finn do? The Rebellion, the Resistance already had plans for Starkiller Base, but Finn was able to tell them classified information because he worked there, in sanitation duty as a cadet. Right, because that's what you do in the military when you're not qualified to actually stand a watch or do a real job. When you're in training, right, you clean. That even when you're not on watch in the military, you clean. I've had people tell me that's not true. Well, I'm just going to say this. If it's not true, lucky you must have been an officer or something. Because if you're enlisted, it doesn't matter what your job is. Right. I had a job that you have to have the highest ASVAB score to do as a nuke. And my friends who I didn't actually work in reactor department when I got to my aircraft carrier, but I did work in the shop where all the former nukes worked. So we were all, allegedly the smartest people in our division. And we still cleaned a lot, right? Even though we were, as Trump called us, Trump referred to all of my friends as the eggheads. Y'all probably don't have any idea, but he was talking about And the Young Turks make fun of him, but sometimes I'm not a fan of Trump, but sometimes Trump actually knows what he's talking about. And this was one of those cases where, all the liberals were making fun of Trump because he was asking about steam powered ships. And they were like, we haven't used a steam powered engine and that's been, and I'm like, no, nuclear powered ships run on steam, right? How do you get you got a boiler, the boiler boils water, it makes steam, the steam turns the turbine. Now, what do you think makes the steam? You think it's gasoline? They heat up gasoline and the gasoline makes a combustion, and no, they have a nuclear reactor that's giving off heat from fissions, right? These nuclear fissions give off heat. That thing sits in water. It heats the water around it. What happens when water gets hot? It makes steam. The steam goes up. It turns a turbine. That turbine is connected to a generator that generates electricity. There's another turbine that turns. That turns the screw in the boat and makes it go through the water, right? The other one makes electricity that gives people light. Allows some of the people, the guys who work in supply department to play Xbox and PlayStation while the electricians like me are working, and but the electricians like me are gods, so at any point we can just flip a switch, pull some breakers, and now nobody can sit in their shop looking at nudie pictures on the internet and playing PlayStation and everything else while the real men are out working. That's a bit of a tangent. Well, my point is, but we still had to clean, even though we were gods. Even gods have to clean shit in the Navy, right? In the military. And that's what Finn had to do. But Finn, being somebody who cleans, what happens when you have to clean stuff all the time? Well, you get a lay of the land. So Finn knew the lay of Starkiller Base. He knew where everything was because he had to go there on rotations and clean stuff, take out the trash, right? Sanitation, right? And so he filled that role, that same role that Kyle Katarn did. Now, what happened with Kyle Katarn? Of course, we don't see him during A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. But those of you who are familiar with his story, I'm not. I just know the name and I know what he did. I started to play Jedi Outcast, but is that the first game he's in? But I didn't even get to the point where he discovers that he's force sensitive, right? I use a cheat code to give myself force abilities. It's a great thing about computer games. But I know that, Kyle Katarn goes on this mission, and then he discovers, oh, I have the force, and my father had the force, and I have it too, and now I can embark on my journey to become a Jedi. And I used to say, look, man, this Finn is not going to get this story in this trilogy, right? So I want Finn to get his own story after it's over, where now he can start to explore that, right? Now, the great thing about The Rise of Skywalker is they confirm what I've been saying all along, that Finn does have the force, that he is force sensitive, and the force brought him to Rey, for a reason. So I still would very much like for Finn to embark on his own journey to explore the force on his own, not be Rey's student. I want them to be equals. Maybe he can turn to Rey as, best friend. Maybe they end up having a romance later. I don't know. I really don't care at this point. But as far as Finn's story post The Rise of Skywalker, for me, I would like to see Finn go do his own thing and go and basically Rey kind of feel like, yo, man, I can't really teach you. Here's the books. If you need help, you reach out and I will help you the best way I can. But I feel like the best thing you can do is to go out and explore the galaxy and search for, during this time of peace, search for ruins and remains of the Jedi the same way Luke did. And like I said, if you need help, here I am. I'm a upload. We've been slowly trying to translate the ancient Jedi texts and create, this database. You got, here's a thumb drive. Here's a thumb drive where, here's a droid, or maybe you go with BB-8 or BB-9 or BB somebody. You get your own droid and you go off, you do your own adventures. And I would love to see Finn have the adventures of Finn as he discovers the force on his own, and he has to deal with these conflicts. And sometimes, hey man, I gotta phone a friend, call in Ray for help, and she can kind of be friend, mentor, advisor, little sister, big sister, however you want to see their relationship. But I would really like to see Finn have his own adventure apart from Ray, apart from Poe, where they come in, apart from Rose, where he's just, I need to go out and discover what this means on my own. I need to find out what it means to be a Jedi, if that's my path, on my own, right? I've never done anything completely by myself, right? I was with the First Order my whole life. Then I was thrust into this resistance thing, and I didn't really sign up for it, but then I did. And now it's over. The First Order, there's still remnants probably out there somewhere, people licking their wounds, and there might be some First Order versions of Moff Gideon out there. There's always going to be crime cartels out there. And, I'd like to see Finn build a lightsaber on his own. He's learned how to pilot and fly, slowly on his own. He'd have a droid to help him out with that. And then you got Karnuk Sin, the Force Collector, who he can always call on for help as well, who's, wants to be the Jocasta Nu of the new Jedi Order under Rey Skywalker. But the best thing that could happen for Finn is for him to have his own story. And, if John Boyega wanted to come back and be a part of that, I'm cool with that. But you can do more with a book, even a comic book. You can do more than you can. As much as I love The Mandalorian, I think that would be a lot. It would require a lot of work, and there need to be some time for people to kind of lick their wounds. I'd be all for a Finn series, right? A short series that could maybe lead to the next big story or the next big book. I don't know. But like I said, I don't know if the Finn, I know John Boyega is a good enough actor to carry that series, but I don't know if the Finn character is popular enough with the bigger fan base. I know, the hardcore dedicated people on Urban Acolyte on this channel, y'all would probably love that. But the bigger fan base, because they had rumors before when they were like, oh, this person, you get a Disney Plus series, you get a Disney Plus series, you get a Disney, and they were, and I think I did a video on that, like John Boyega, Finn could get a Disney Plus series. And John Boyega's comment during the press tour of The Rise of Skywalker, don't Disney Plus me, right? And I still think he wouldn't be game for that unless it's animated, where he can just say his lines, get it over with, and go on with producing and doing his own thing, his own movies that he's working on. And he's got this big thing he wants to tell stories out of Nigeria, put Nigerian filmmakers on, because Nollywood is a real deal. Like, it's a big thing, and he wants to be part of that. And I mean, hey man, he's made his money doing these big blockbuster films. He's got the bag, right? And he's got the creds. So, more power to him to go pursue the things that he wants to do. I really hope he does appear in another big blockbuster, popcorn thing, but that's just me. Cause I didn't know who he was before. I didn't know about Attack the Block. I watched his Netflix movie that came out after The Force Awakens, and I've become a fan of him. I haven't supported all of his work, but I've always been like, hey, go John, go JB. I might not see what you're doing, but I just as a person, as a human being, not even about being a black man, just as a human being, I want to see him succeed and win and have a fantastic career. So that's really, I've ranted on, and I'm not going to edit anything in this video. I'm just going to post it raw. But that's all I got to say about this John Boyega thing. Maybe if some new news comes out in a few weeks, few months, I'll cover that. But I think I've kind of exhausted this whole John Boyega thing for now. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be checking back to see what y'all have to say. But yeah, that's all I got for this one. So thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Y'all keep on breathing, and I'll holler at you on the next video.